Welcome to FanDummies. I'm Greg.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're talking about Marvel's 20th Century Studios movie, The New Mutants. We're going to talk about why the heck isn't it on Disney Plus? Who are the New Mutants? We're going to talk about what to read if you're interested in the New Mutants. And of course, our review. I wonder what we rated it. What did you rate it, Aaron? Don't tell us. Don't tell us. She was about to tell us, but I saved it.
You're just making sure I'm paying attention over there.
That's right. That's right. Let's get into a little bit about what is the New Mutants movie. From 20th Century Studios, in this terrifying, action-filled film based on the Marvel Comics series, 5 young people who demonstrate special powers are forced to undergo treatment at a secret institution, allegedly to cure them of the dangers of their powers. You couldn't see me do the air quotes if you're listening to this, just the podcast.
I saw it.
Yeah. But it's soon clear that their containment is part of a much bigger battle between the forces of good and the forces of evil. Sounds good.
Yeah.
We should watch it.
I think we did.
Oh.
The New Mutants, it was directed by Josh Boone. He also directed The Stand, which comes out December 17th. You know, the Stephen King series.
We'll see if that's more scary or less scary than this.
In real life, you mean?
Well, no, then The New Mutants is what I meant. But now that you have me thinking about real life, thanks a lot.
And he also directed The Fault in Our Stars.
I haven't seen that garbage.
That's for the younger audience, Greg. I wouldn't expect you to watch that.
I have no idea what it even is. I just like to talk crap about any movie I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
You said New Mutants. You didn't say New Inhumans. So this is definitely Marvel.
Uh-huh.
Why isn't this on Disney Plus?
Director Josh Boone, he said in a Digital Spy article that they were 70% of the way through filming before the merger of Disney and Fox happened. And he had no talks with Kevin Feige at the time. And he says he really loves Marvel movies, but they were a Fox Marvel movie.
Yeah. So it wasn't like in the same kind of group as like a real Marvel movie.
Yeah.
This was like a licensed Marvel movie.
Yeah, they're not in the MCU.
Right.
Yeah. He ends it by saying, we just sort of made the movie we wanted to make at Fox, and we were inherited by Disney. So he just had no say, or, you know, they never really came to him and talked to him about it either.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Disney works like every other company, right? Kevin Feige had a plan. He didn't have the New Mutants properties, right? That was licensed to Fox, kind of like Spider-Man was licensed to Sony. So he didn't include those characters in any of his plans. So when it merged with Fox, or when they bought Fox, really, when Disney bought Fox, he's not going to stop them from making the movie, but he also can't rearrange all of his plans because of that merger.
Yeah.
This movie kept getting delayed, which was, you know, yet another movie affected by the virus and because of this buyout.
Yeah, it's crazy how long it took them.
I mean, all the Disney execs were probably trying to game the system for when these movies came out. Because this thing did release in the theaters, but it was, you know, which theaters? Because there were none open.
Yeah. I didn't even hear much about it either when it came out.
Yeah. They started filming this thing back in 2017. The film was finished and they were considering reshooting some scenes to make it more horror, which they should have done.
Yeah.
Disney then bought 20th Century Fox and the movie got delayed again. And, you know, when you have new bosses, you have to repitch your ideas. Then the movie was supposed to come out in April of 2020. But again, because of the virus, it got pushed back.
Yeah, like over and over, like a couple times.
I really hope that this kind of stuff is behind us.
Yeah, me too.
We know it's going to last maybe another 6 more months. But the movie studios have really made some changes.
Mm-hmm.
We know all the stuff that's coming out on HBO Max and all the stuff that's coming out on Disney Plus.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know what's going to happen with movie theaters, but I don't think they're coming back.
Yeah. I hope they do.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. It's a huge part of movie watching for people.
I mean, what are you going to do with your movie watching pants? You have to throw them away.
Good.
You have to listen to our last episode if you want to know what Aaron's movie watching pants are.
I don't think that there's going to be a sequel to this movie. Since Disney bought Fox, it doesn't seem like it fits into the Disney lineup anymore, does it?
No, it doesn't. There's no puzzle piece where the New Mutants plays a role.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but there's no mutant movies at all. I mean, think about the Avengers. Even the Fantastic Four, even Spider-Man, none of them are mutants.
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man is bit by a radioactive spider. The Fantastic Four got the cosmic rays. Marvel is doing nothing with any mutants. None.
You mean the MCU side?
Marvel in general.
Oh.
There's lots of mutants in Marvel. They don't have a single movie out or show with any mutants. Maybe the Scarlet Witch. Maybe. But I don't know.
What? What is she?
I don't know if she's a mutant or not. Yeah? You can't think of one, can you?
No.
There isn't one. There isn't one. Marvel is...
Well, they just got the rights to the X-Men. So does that include all the mutants?
Like I said, I'll talk about this a little bit later.
Okay.
But there's a lot of mutants in the Marvel universe. A ton.
Yeah. Wolverine.
That's never in... Marvel's never... I mean, they made Logan.
Or is that not a Marvel property? That's a Fox one?
Just saying that you don't think this is going to get a sequel. And I say, I don't think it's going to get a sequel either because Marvel today, Disney is anti-mutant.
Yeah. They had the big Disney Investor Day just a few days ago. Oh, it was so great, but they didn't mention any sequel to this movie.
Nope.
I don't think that there was a X-Men or a mutant movie that was announced. I was too focused on the Star Wars and the Marvel movies or the other Marvel movies.
Yeah,
some of the Marvel movies, I'm not really sure who the people are.
That's exciting.
But
yeah.
There's always a few Marvel movies that I'm like, I don't know who these characters are, but I end up really loving them anyway.
Gives us a chance to read the comics.
And Josh, the director, he was planning on making 2 more sequels to this movie. And I also read that this movie was supposed to come out before Dark Phoenix. And Dark Phoenix did so bad that they only ended up creating that one.
I was saying another dud.
So I guess we're going to have to wait and see if this gets a sequel.
Can anyone make a mutant movie that's good? Almost all the X-Men movies were mediocre at best.
Yeah.
All of the Wolverine movies were mediocre. The very, very first one was decent, but everything after that was pretty mediocre. Oh, Deadpool.
I was just going to say that. I was just, you said that and I saw your eyes light up and I'm like, Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool. All right. Well, there's one in there.
Because we saw some of the X-Men in Deadpool.
Yeah, no. Deadpool, he's in there. Take it back.
Okay, one.
There's one.
And a couple.
Speaking of the ability to read the comics before watching a Marvel movie, let's kind of get into what you really should read before you see this. That way you know who these characters are. The New Mutants movie is based on the Demon Bear storyline by Chris Claremont and Bill Sienkiewicz.
The visionary talents of writer Chris Claremont and legendary illustrator Bill Sienkiewicz bring the demon bear that has haunted Danielle Moonstar's dreams to horrifying life. It took her parents, and now it has returned for Dani, and only the combined efforts of her fellow New Mutants can stop it from finishing the job.
I've seen some of these bear videos on TikTok, and they are scary. I mean, I saw a bear kick open a door just to look around in the house and then leave.
I'm pretty sure you sent me that one.
I mean, a demon bear is pretty scary.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with a bear.
No.
Especially like a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
I think that's what this bear looks like.
Yeah, it's a giant black grizzly bear.
Yeah. Or it's like dark brown, black.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's scary.
It's like It's like the smoke monster on Lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has like these like little like spirally
Red.
creepy eyes.
Yeah, red, creepy, spirally eyes.
Yeah. But this Demon Bear graphic novel, it consists of New Mutants from 1983, number 18 through 20, X-Force 1991, number 99, and material from X-Force from 2008, number 7 through 10.
I collected right around this era.
Did you?
I have a bunch of X-Force, and I'm pretty sure I have some New Mutants. I don't think I have any of the first New Mutants because this, like you said, this is like 18 through 20. So it's like really the early New Mutants. This is
83. You would have been really young.
This is the kind of the first New Mutants team.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into that a little bit later. But X-Force 100 was super collectible. The issue 100. It has like multiple colors, or I'm trying to remember what exactly. It may have come sealed with a card, if I remember right. But either way, they were super collectible. And I think I have maybe 4 or 5 of those downstairs. I think they're worth nothing today. It was, one of those things that they trick you into thinking will be collectible.
It could be.
I don't know. I'll have to check it out. It's like all those Todd McFarlane Spider-Mans.
They're not worth anything.
They were worth like $20 each in 1998, and they're still worth $20.
More than cover price. I'll take it. I did end up reading most of the graphic novel.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
It's pretty good. I think once I got through about half of it and I kind of looked back at it and compared it with the movie, I thought it was a little bit more interesting than the movie.
Yeah.
I always say the book is better.
The book is always better. The comic books also are always better.
A couple reasons I thought the comic was better is because Professor X, he's raising Danny Moonstar.
Yeah.
Or in the movie, I guess her dad, they don't show her mom, do they?
Mm-mm.
But her dad ends up dying from the demon bear, and she's taken against her will to like rehabilitation center.
Yeah. It's not run by Professor X.
But
the movie kind of creates this impression that it might be.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like you don't really know who's pulling the strings, but you think it could be Professor X.
Well, the doctor in the movie, she doesn't seem really creepy. She's almost seems like she's trying to help them.
Yeah.
And protect them, I guess, when the bear and their demons come through the hospital like every other day.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like she really is dangerous.
I mean, she was about to kill him a couple of times.
Oh, yeah. But that's after the computer told her to. It's not like what she came to think herself, I don't think. She was just kind of like a pawn in their game.
Yeah, her boss ordered her to cut ties with Danny physically. Spoiler.
I'm sure if the doctor didn't end up trying to kill Danny, the person behind the screen probably would have came and killed them all.
You're left with the impression that the Essex Corp is the company that runs the rehabilitation center. You get the impression that they have the ability to take action against the doctor or even these mutants, these new mutants.
Yeah.
And if you remember back in the Wolverine days, this Essex Corp were the people who busted in and took DNA samples from where they made Wolverine to try to recreate Wolverine, which is pretty interesting. I like that about this movie, that they kind of sprinkle in some actual canon, but they don't use it in any sort of way that canon is in the comics.
Yeah.
To me, that's the essence of what makes these Fox movies terrible. All of them. They're like, we're going to make a movie about the Mustang, the car, the Mustang. Yet the movie has nothing to do with the Mustang. Like that's how they make these superhero movies. These, it's like the same name, but their origin stories are never the same. Nothing is ever the same.
Yeah. I don't know why they don't keep them the same.
Marvel does a pretty good job of keeping it straight. Yeah, much better. I mean, they modernize it, they change some things, but for the most part, Thor's from Asgard.
Yeah. Another pretty neat part about the comic was the bear, it sucks the people into another dimension when it's fighting them. And then it's on like its own like astral plane. I don't know where it's at, but it's pretty neat.
Does the bear actually chew him up if it catches him? Once it sucks it into the astral plane, did it win?
I think in the New Mutants run of these comics, the bear like sucked him into another dimension. But in the X-Force, the number 99 I referenced earlier, it eats Danny and her friend. And instead of like going down to the pit of the bear's stomach, that's how they get to the other dimension.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty interesting. They're like, why am I not inside bear guts or whatever?
It's like the goat in...
Oh, the donkey?
It's like the donkey in Doom Patrol.
How'd they get out of the donkey, Greg?
Like all things get out of a donkey. So what else is different?
In the comics, Danny becomes paralyzed in that New Mutants run. That happens pretty quick, like after the first comic. And the doctors are trying to save her. And I think the only reason she actually lives is because she does have mutant abilities. Mm-hmm. The craziest part about that New Mutants run of the comics is her parents died because of the demon bear, like back before these comics.
Yeah.
And Ileana, she ended up killing the demon bear with her sword. And her parents appeared. So like her parents were actually enslaved inside of that demon bear. You think that like the bear killed them, I don't know, or ate them. I didn't go back that far, like into the comics.
It just holds them hostage.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
When I read that, I was like, oh, these are so good. Before I read that, I was like, oh, these are pretty good. But then after I read that they came back, I was like, what? Like we didn't get to see that in the movie at all.
It's unbelievable how amazing the stories are in these comic books. They're not even like critically acclaimed. Some of these, if they were non-illustrated and written in a book, they would be bestsellers.
Yeah, yeah.
The stories in them are incredible.
I do prefer like newer comics because like older comics, sometimes it's hard to follow them. The illustrations in these comics, sometimes the characters look different from like frame to frame. Mm-hmm. So you have to kind of learn the characters and once you get past a couple comics, it's easier to recognize the people, I think. Or sometimes just like jumping into stories when there's so many New Mutant comics out there that like sometimes when you just jump into a story, it takes a little bit to get going on the comics when they're older, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they really write older comics more like a novel.
Yeah.
It's a lot of dialogue. Mm-hmm. It takes a long time to get into the action. There's a lot of backstory, a lot of character development. It's pretty good. Mm-hmm. But I think new comic books have been influenced a lot by manga, where, you know, in manga, you might have 10 pages with not a single word on it.
Yeah.
And that's how newer comics are. There's less dialogue. There's more action. There's more movement in the art.
Yeah.
The art tells a story more so as much as the dialogue.
I
mean, there's still tons of dialogue in newer comics, but I think they've really improved the way the art tells the story. Mm-hmm. So if you go back and you read these, in 83, it wasn't as bad.
Yeah, it's not as bad.
Like when you read something from the 60s,
yeah.
It's like, it takes you 10 minutes to read one page. It is so much dialogue, but you get your money's worth. You get your 12 cents worth.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's what they were.
Yeah.
That's how much they cost in the 60s.
And the art in these comics, I really like the look of the demon bear and how it's like all negative black space for the bear. Mm-hmm. I like the way that they incorporated it into like just like the comic illustrations on the pages. I think it was done really well.
That's awesome. Ileana in the movie really had a different backstory. They changed her a lot.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be Colossus's little sister. Mm-hmm. The whole reason Colossus knows about his powers is because he saved Ileana from a tractor accident. He like lifted a tractor off of her or something. That's how he learned he was a mutant. Ileana in the movie, she gets abducted by these weird mutants with like the smiley face. It's like some sort of like Slender Man ripoff or something.
I don't even know what was going on there.
I don't know what was going on either. They were all exactly the same. It was almost kind of horror for horror's sake. Mm-hmm. It really was odd.
Because she was supposed to have been raised by a sorcerer, right? Like, and have magic abilities. beyond
Yeah. And
what
then
we saw.
she was trained and then she was abducted by a supervillain mainly to get after Professor X because she is Colossus' sister. So she was used as leverage against the professor and Colossus. And that's how she even got to America. It's really a completely different story.
I don't know why they changed that so much.
I do like how they enhanced her though. Like her powers are cooler in the movie than they are in the comic.
Yeah, in the comic she just has a sword.
Yeah,
it's a pretty powerful sword.
It's like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the movie, like her whole arm changes into a sword. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's like armor. Like she has armor on her arm and then the sword like manifests and she can jump between dimensions and stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, what do you think about that like dragon? It's a puppet like in our dimension or whatever dimension they're in. And then when she goes into the other dimension, it turns into a real life dragon.
That was crazy. I didn't even expect it. I just thought she was, a little cuckoo.
Yeah, I was like, Greg, why does she have a puppet? And Greg's just like,
I don't want to judge, but like this is an asylum.
But when it turned into a real dragon, I was like, okay, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And she does have that in the comic as well.
She was super cool. Like I really, really enjoyed her at the end.
Oh, yeah.
In the beginning, she was just like Mean Girl 101.
We'll talk about this a little bit coming up in the review, but I don't know why.
If you want to support FanDummies, please check out our Patreon. For $5 a month, you get tons and tons of benefits. You get early access, no ads. We just keep adding ads until everyone joins our Patreon. So soon it'll just be ads every other word until you convert. Kidding.
That's me, Greg.
Totally kidding.
We wouldn't do that.
Never. But we do put our video and our audio podcasts up there ad-free. But of course, there's other great ways to support the show. You can hit subscribe. Really, what would really support the show is if you go over to Apple Podcasts and hit the subscribe button. The more subscribers on Apple Podcasts, the higher we rank. And since most people use Apple Podcasts that are on Apple phones, it really helps us out. Of course, then you can go back to like CastBox or Overcast or, the app we know you use, Podcast Addict.
Just open every app on your phone, hit subscribe, download, and we'll appreciate you.
Yeah, go over to YouTube, hit subscribe over there. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe, hit the thumbs up. All of these interactions really help us.
If you go watch YouTube today, you'll see my really cool Marvel Christmas sweater that I found in my closet.
Yeah, true. She popped out like middle of the day. She's like, look what I found. I'm like, yeah, I've seen that before, but it's been many years.
Totally forgot I had it.
If you are new to FanDummies and you haven't figured it out yet, we talk about superheroes, science fiction, and fantasy TV and movies every week. We just basically talk about the shows we love. We kind of stick in that range. So you'll hear us talk a lot about Batman, The Flash, Star Wars, Star Trek, Harry Potter, stuff like that.
Don't forget Marvel.
Of course, Marvel. We're talking about Marvel today, Aaron. You can listen to us on any podcast app or watch us on YouTube. We'll put all the links to all of that in the show notes below, so make sure you check it out. All right, Aaron, let's get into the actors and the characters. Even though these are new mutants, they're not all new actors. Let's start it off with like the rock star of the group, Maisie Williams. She plays Rain Sinclair, or the superhero name Wolfsbane. You may have seen her in Game of Thrones. She plays Arya Stark. And I kept saying throughout this whole movie, what is Arya doing? Arya this, Arya that. And Aaron's like, quit calling her Arya.
At first you were like, that girl looks just like the girl on Game of Thrones. Like, it is.
In the moment, I can never remember actors or actresses' names. Like in the moment, like I knew it's Maisie Williams. I follow her on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like if I'm ever on a panel at like a con, if the world ever goes back to normal and you put me on the spot, I will never know. I will never know because my brain just ceases to function under pressure.
I think it's hard because you'll see a character in another movie or show and then you watch them in something totally different where they look different. And then it's like, who is that? Like, it takes a second.
Oh, it's like seeing someone you work with at the grocery store.
Oh my gosh, it's so weird.
It's so weird. You're like, do I know you?
Uh-huh.
Like, I sit next to you every day. Oh my gosh. You wear hats?
That's happened to us.
I never pictured you wearing a hat.
There's also Anya Taylor-Joy.
Mm.
She plays Ilyana Rasputin. Magic is her superhero name.
Yeah.
You might have seen her in The Queen's Gambit. You know, like that #1 show on Netflix that, like, every time you turn on Netflix, is right on top. Watch The Queen's Gambit. Watch The Queen's Gambit. And I'm like, I don't play chess.
I thought it was a movie about Oliver Queen's boat that sank. Because that was called The Queen's Gambit.
Yeah. Or you might have heard her in The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance as Bria.
Ooh. Now,
The show that got canceled, even though I really loved season 1. I'm going to cry about it every day.
I don't know how that got canceled.
I don't know.
Like, it was so good.
Yeah.
Maybe just the cost of making it. I don't know.
Also, I think the virus probably plays a huge role in it. The show had very minimal digital effects. It was all puppets. I mean, think of all the people it took to create that.
Yeah, it had to been cost. Now, do you think in the comics, Ilyana Rasputin, you think when she gets together for a family reunion, they call it Magic the Gathering?
Yes. Like, why wouldn't they?
Oh, I don't know. I just had to make the joke. Next, we have Charlie Heaton, who plays Sam Guthrie, or superhero name Cannonball. You might have seen him in Stranger Things as Jonathan Byers.
Oh, I have.
Dude, Charlie, you suck at this accent. I know you watch us. We get millions and millions of listens. You're probably listening to us in your car. You probably have a Lamborghini from Stranger Things paid for. You're driving down Hollywood Boulevard and you're like, I suck at accents. Yes.
It was weird.
It was a bad, man.
I love him on Stranger Things.
So
But
good.
in this movie, I was like, oh, he's going to be in it. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
But the moment he spoke, I don't know, just not right.
It was like he watched Cole the Corn Star and decided to be him in this movie.
Is Cole the Corn Star?
You don't watch YouTube?
No, I don't watch that type of YouTube. I watch photographer and video YouTubers. That's all you play.
Hey, I like to have quality videos and audio. I'm sorry.
Not corn something.
We watched Cole the Corn Star for a while.
Cole the Corn Star?
Yeah, remember he was fixing up his grandpa's house on the farm and it was like a renovation show.
I think you hit play and I never paid attention.
But that's the
guy
character.
with the crazy sunglasses.
Yeah, those sunglasses, by the way, are crazy popular right now. Like I see them all over Instagram. I don't know if he did that or someone else did that. I have no idea.
It's just popular. I see other people wear them too.
But what I'm trying to say is that was the character that was in this New Mutants movie.
Oh, okay. He's just...
they would have done way better if they would have just hired Cole.
Like someone that actually spoke like that.
Yeah, or just, somebody who had a little country in him.
A little southern guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just didn't come across right. There's also Blue Hunt, and she plays Danny Moonstar, which her superhero name is Moonstar.
Original.
Uh-huh. We saw her in Another Life, the Katie Sackhoff show.
Yeah.
They just wrapped up shooting season 2 of Another Life.
Yeah, she's August in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She didn't die, did she? She lived, right?
Oh, yeah, she lived.
So I guess we'll see her again.
Yeah, we're going to see her. Then there's Henry Zaga, who plays Roberto da Costa, who the superhero name is Sunspot. We saw him in Teen Wolf, and he's going to be in The Stand, which is pretty fun.
Uh-huh.
Can't wait to watch The Stand.
Yeah.
We should watch the original. Oh, we couldn't find the original one. That's why.
Yeah, it was hard to find. And then it's kind of just about a pandemic.
Yeah.
About a virus, and it's just a little too close to home right now.
Yeah, but we should watch it before we watch the new one.
Yeah, because I wanted to read the book, and I almost did, and I was like, I just can't. I just can't.
I know.
Not now.
I know. You'd be like, just put your mask on.
Yeah, maybe 5 years from now I can read it.
I can't imagine. Oh my God.
There's also Alice Braga, and she plays Dr. Reyes. You might have seen her in the Predator movie from 2010 or in I Am Legend, the movie that I refuse to rewatch because of reasons.
Yeah, reasons.
She's also going to be in the new Suicide Squad movie. That's pretty neat.
There's another new Suicide Squad movie? Oh, I knew this.
The James Gunn one.
Yeah. Just put this thing to bed.
What?
DC's just as bad as Marvel.
About recreating the same thing over and over and over and over and over.
It's like they're hoping to just get it right and then they can move on, but
they never do.
it's just I know people love the Suicide Squad, but I'm not one of those people.
I have better hopes for James Gunn directing it. He did a really good job with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Very
one of my
true.
Favorite superhero movies that exist. That might help.
All right. And finally, we're going to get to the review. Now, we've given you some hints this entire time about the review. So none of this stuff should really come as a shock to anyone listening to this.
Some of it might.
What? Oh. Ooh. Okay, Aaron, let's do this.
Okay.
Give us the bad first.
I didn't think it was as horror as it could have been.
It wasn't horror at all.
It's categorized as a genre horror.
I know. It was like suspenseful.
Mm-hmm.
I would not count it as horror.
I thought it was going to be a lot spookier going into it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, except for like some suspenseful moments and the psychological elements from the demon bear and the demons that everyone else saw. It just didn't seem very scary to me.
Was it more or less horror than Hellstrom?
Less, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And even Hellstrom wasn't that much horror.
Mm-mm.
This is like warrior nun horror. I mean,
yeah.
Which is not horror at all.
Nah.
I mean, demons and, just, it wasn't horror.
Yeah. I don't know.
I jumped a couple times. It was jumpy. Had some jumpy moments.
I didn't really get that. I mean, it was just like, oh no, something's tapping on the dryer.
It was the hand on the dryer that got me. When the hand hit the dryer, I went, oh, got me. Ooh, you got me.
They should have went more into horror for the movie or not have gone down the horror road at all. I think that they took the horror aspect from the demon bear in the comic. And I think that there just wasn't that much else about the comic that was horror. They try to make a horror movie based on very little elements from the comic. It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a horror comic book.
Yeah. I also thought the plot was just really basic, and it was also very predictable. Like from the first few minutes that we saw, I was like, oh, Danny's causing this. I don't know if I was supposed to know that right away.
Yeah, obviously. I mean,
I was.
No, I mean, it was obvious. I don't know if you were supposed to know it, but I mean, I think you were supposed to know it.
Really? But they told her that it was a tornado that came through the town and killed everybody. It just wasn't very imaginative to me. Not as much as I thought the comics did a better job with their story.
I don't understand why they feel the need to write this stuff.
Uh-huh.
Just shoot the movie.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you got the source material.
Yeah.
Make the dang movie.
I thought the last few minutes of the movie, once they defeated the demon bear and everything kind of turned around and they were able to leave that facility, I was like, oh man, this movie is actually getting really good all of a sudden. And that's where I wish that the movie would have started.
Exactly. That should have happened in like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, like they could have defeated the bear, defeated their demons, and then, left the place and then went on to become the New Mutants. I thought that would have been really good.
A good movie. I mean, write this down, Marvel. A good movie would have been in the first 10 minutes, they figure out that Dr. Reyes is not good.
Yeah.
And as they kill her, she hits the panic button, which then alerts the people and they're after her.
Uh-huh.
And they're going through the town and they're trying to escape. And at the very end, the X-Men save them.
Yeah.
right? Like,
That would have been good.
and then, you see like Cyclops like kill some people, and Colossus is throwing some stuff, and Magic is like, oh, thank God you're here, brother. And then and Professor X is like, come with me, children. And then that would have been an epic movie.
Yeah. Maybe it'd be too hard to get those past actors or to recast them for a few minutes.
You don't need the past actors. It's all new.
Recast them. I mean,
all new.
Yeah.
I mean, they have they don't have the X-Men anymore. Well, I guess it's all the same company now.
Yeah, it's all the same.
But that's what they should have done.
Yeah, it just kind of got old with them being at that same location the entire movie.
I know.
It was like 6 characters this whole movie, and then they were in one location the whole time. It just kind of got a little boring after a while.
Dr. Reyes was the only other person in there besides them.
Yeah.
There were no other patients besides these few new mutants. There were no guards. There were no other bad people. There were no orderlies.
You would see Ileana's nightmares with like those demon people in it.
I know, but you would think a facility like this, they would have it staffed with more than just Dr. Reyes. She's there all by herself.
She has cameras, Greg. Cameras.
All by herself.
She's always watching.
I know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
And the computers or whatever in the cameras would report back. She's creepy. So someone else might have been watching, or maybe it was just the computers.
Yeah, this wasn't good. All right, give us the good. Now that we've thoroughly drove the bus over this thing, give us the good, Aaron.
I really did enjoy the movie.
After all that.
Even after all that. I mean, I was that's just kind of nitpicking. I mean, you say, tell us the bad, so I have to think of some bad stuff. I love when there's new Marvel characters I don't know much about, and I get to, learn about them from the movie, and I get to learn about them from the comics. I just love that. I don't know much about, the mutants outside of the X-Men movies that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's always pretty fun. I did like seeing the mutants struggle using their powers for the first time. It's kind of like we got mini origin stories of each mutant, even though all of them had really bad experiences, the first times that they were using their powers that caused them to be there.
Yeah.
So it's different than just a normal superhero movie that we normally see. I mean, I don't even know. I was even asking Greg tonight, like, was this actually a superhero movie? Because they don't really do any superhero stuff. It's just people with powers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a superhero movie per se, except that the subjects eventually become superheroes.
Yeah. Like they're fighting their own demons. I guess it could be superheroes.
Well, would you consider Smallville a superhero show?
Yeah.
Well, that's what
because
this is.
Because Clark Kent is always battling Lex Luthor? I don't remember. But he's always helping out the town against the metahumans.
I know, but not at the beginning, though. Like he was trying to figure it out.
Pretty close.
Yeah, no, but this is like a month of these people's lives that we see.
Yeah, true.
So.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think I really wanted to see them have their powers already and move past this little month or however long that they're in there. Even though I did enjoy, like, learning about them and, like, in their little origins.
Yeah. So, for my bad, I think that I said most of it during your part, but the hospital, staying in the hospital, though a single location for the movie, made it really boring.
Yeah. Especially because it was so drab and dismal and gross.
Yeah. If I would have watched this and it would have been a prequel, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah.
It had the prequel feel.
It does. Now
like low budget, single location, mediocre story, basic origin stories on some people. It felt like a prequel.
Yeah.
And I hate prequels.
That's why I'm chuckling over here.
The issue is it's not a prequel, right? That wasn't good. I also didn't like Magic's story. It seemed too different. I think she's got a really cool story. She's got a real cool connection to the X-Men. It's what makes her fun.
Yeah.
It's her whole thing.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
And they totally took that away from her. Like her pedigree, her background. It wasn't good.
They should give us a Magic movie. I'd watch that.
There is a movie already. It's Magic's story. Colossus' sister, abducted by supervillain Arcade, taken to America, tried to ransom off to Professor X. Obviously, that doesn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
And she becomes a new mutant at, Xavier's School for Gifted Children.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a story.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. I don't know who these masked mutants were that were in Illyana's nightmares, or if that was really what happened to her or whatever. At the beginning, I had this feeling like she was taken by normal humans and she was going to be like sold or something weird like that, like kept in a cage or something. But there was something else was going on.
I don't know.
I don't know what was going on. Something weirder than that.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
It seemed just completely made up.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like it was horror for the point of horror. Like there was no real reason to it other than to be scary.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of good. I did like the movie overall.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. When it was over, it was only an hour and a half. And when it was over, I was like, that was fun.
Yeah, it was really short.
Yeah. It was not terrible.
Uh-uh.
I think that you should watch it. It was not bad. I like how it was mostly the original New Mutants team with the addition of Magic. Magic comes later in the comics. The original New Mutants had a different character that left or got killed or something. I also think that they modernized the New Mutants enough to make it pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
Illyana got some armor. She got a sword that just appeared out of nowhere.
Well, in the comics, she kind of grew her armor. All of a sudden, like something would grow on her arm, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know how that's happening," because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be like an origin.
Yeah, I think they modernized her really well. I think the Demon Bear was really well done.
Yeah.
Like it was like a force of nature, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I thought the Demon Bear was really neat.
Yeah, I think they did a nice job with that.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that it was a bit suspenseful. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, Disney makes these colorful, like action-packed, big-budget movies, and I feel like comics like the New Mutants, X-Force, X-Men, etc., are all neglected.
Hellstrom,
Ghost
Rider.
Yeah, exactly. All of these that are like that don't fit Disney's kind of Mickey Mouse, super family,
Yeah.
kind of view get really neglected, and that's really a shame. And other than Deadpool, which may be an anomaly, Disney's pretty anti-mutant right now, at least in their lineup. They don't have a lot of mutant stuff.
I don't think the Deadpool movie is a Disney movie.
I don't think it is either, but at least it's mutant.
Yeah. It was probably the same 20th century
Yeah.
studios.
It just hit a home run.
Yeah.
So Aaron, give this thing a final rating.
I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I think it's worth watching at home. I think if I would have watched it at the movies, I probably would have enjoyed it, but I think watching it at home, turning it on the weekend and watching it is totally worth it.
Turn all the lights off, turn it up real loud.
Yeah.
Get some popcorn. I think it's fine. I'm going to rate it a 3 out of 5. It's a little bit better than medium because it is at least cool Marvel.
Yeah.
So I agree, though. I mean, 3 to 3.5, I think is reasonable.
The best part was an hour and a half, however long it was.
Yeah, it was an hour and a half. It's quick. I like it. Well, Aaron, is there anything else you want to add? I think I'm New Mutant out.
Hopefully we'll get to see some X-Men movies made from Disney. They didn't announce anything at that Investor Day, but I'm hoping we're going to get to see some like X-Men or something, because I think it's still an area that they need to explore more, even though they keep doing the same thing over and over. But it seems like there's enough characters that they can pull from to do something different, maybe even.
They've got a lot of time. I mean, they've got a lot on their plate right now.
Yeah. So many good things coming up. I'm so excited.
I'm not mad at what Disney has coming. Believe me. Like, I think it's really good stuff.
Yeah. Also, there's some homework for our listeners. These last couple episodes, we've been talking more about our homework, but this time I'm just going to put a list in the description below. So go check that out. There's a ton of good content coming up in these next few weeks. And I cannot wait for next week's podcast about The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want season 2 of The Mandalorian to end, but I'm super excited to talk about it on the podcast. Like, cannot wait. And Mando better get Grogu back. Otherwise, there might not be a podcast next week.
Dang. She's going to take it out on her podcasting equipment. Don't do it, Aaron. Don't do it. Thank you again for listening to this episode of FanDummies. Please subscribe, rate, and write us a review if you haven't already. As always, links to our Patreon, our merch, and all of the things we talk about today will be in the show notes below, so make sure you check that out. If you want to reach out to us, we are at FanDummies on all social media. We would love to chat with you on either Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anything. We're on all of it at FanDummies.
Usually just Instagram for me.
Yeah, usually it's just Twitter for me. So if you're on Instagram, it's probably Aaron. If it's Twitter, it's probably me. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.